with your hosts, Dave and Matthias, two guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode. All right. Awesome. What's brewing, Cleveland?
What's happening, Cleveland?
We're back with another Blabbermalt Show. Super excited. Got a great show for you today. Hit the thing, man.
It's time to mash in.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Do all the things. Hit the buttons on the socials, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Hit the notification bell so you can, know when we have new episodes.
Yeah.
So we had a good week this past week. St. Patty's Day. Went down to Franklin Brewing Company.
Sure did.
Checked out their new space. It's really cool. I think they're going to do well there.
Yeah.
Tried some beer. It was an old drive-through. Is that correct?
Yeah. When you walk in, right, the bar is right there on your left.
Yeah.
And then they had a really cool wooden slat that we had seen. That's the old drive-through.
Yeah. And so they have two garage doors
that open up.
Nice.
Yeah. One opens up into the brewing sitting area. And if you get a chance to take a tour in the back, the other one sits back there too. So
yeah, really
cool space. We got a chance to get a tour from Aaron.
Yeah,
and talk about some of the beers in the tanks and see their cooler.
Yep,
good stuff.
You had a good field trip too, right? Went to a brewery down.
I did. So last week was my spring break, and my kids and such were still in school. So I said, I'm getting the heck out of Dodge, and I went down to Southern Ohio and hung out in the woods. And just relaxed, unplugged a little bit, which isn't normal for me. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
I ended up meeting some friends out in Chillicothe at 50 West Brewing Company. Now, I love 50 West in general. Their space there in Cincinnati is just killer. They had the old house that they just remodeled and reopened, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. They moved across the street to an old livery where you can canoe into the water. Just a killer place. Chillicothe was pretty neat, though. It's a nice little tap room. They have 3 floors. I think it was an old bank. They have food and their own beer, and I think they had 6 or 7 beers that they brewed there in-house. Yeah, the brewer, she's phenomenal. She's actually from my hometown of MacArthur. Cool. So, brewing some good beer up.
Excellent. Yeah,
tried them all, I think.
Hey, let's not be rude. Let's introduce our guest here.
Hey, here we go, everybody.
Play the second thing, Sean.
It's time for the Vorloff.
Woo! So, super excited here. We got Kara Baker.
Yeah.
Brick and Barrel fame. Yeah, I just tell a little story how I met Kara. Her boyfriend Jim and her were the first people, some of the first people in the Snobs to welcome me in. They're like, hey, new guy, what's your story? And just were very nice and friendly. We've been friends ever since. They actually went to the Great American Beer Fest when I did the Sam Adams thing with the long shot. So that was really cool. And you were there with Fatheads at the time. Is that correct?
We were. We had won Best of Show at Son of Brazilla.
Yes.
So we got to brew with Fatheads.
Yes. That's great.
But I also, I had brewed in the Tremont Tap House.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So I was considered pro.
Ooh.
Okay.
So we couldn't do the Pro-Am.
No.
We didn't want to cross those boundaries.
Understood.
But the beer turned out so good.
Yeah, let's roll with it.
That Matt et al. Decided to go ahead and enter it. So we were up against like Green Flash Lafrique.
Oh, wow.
In the Belgian IPA category.
Yeah.
We made it to Best of Show.
I remember that.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
But, that was my first GABF and
Yeah.
experience out in Denver.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That was a great time.
Yeah.
I have one question, though, before we crack the beer today.
Yeah.
What was Dave like 3, 4, 15 beers in Colorado at GABF?
Kind of like we all were. Very happy.
Happy?
Very smiley.
You're trying to try everything.
I mean,
Right here.
when one of
Bringing
the days...
back the old school for you.
Celebration of the hop.
Yes.
You were doing your Sam Adams thing, so actually I think you were a little nervous, maybe?
Yeah, I was a little nervous, meeting, all the
Right.
big people at Sam Adams. Yeah.
Same thing for me. It
Yeah.
was meeting all these heroes of the brewing industry that we'd
Right.
heard about and drank their beers, and they're just wandering around were there for us to meet.
Yeah, Jim
And
Cook is
so
out
that
there.
was-
Like, oh, your saison is good. I'm like, oh.
Hey, what's that all about?
Yeah, so I think we both were a little awestruck
Yeah.
at that time, 2017.
Yeah,
Well,
that was. So, I mean, let's talk about how you got into brewing. You know, when you're wandering through life. Oh, we gotta.
We got to drink
Okay,
beer
so
first.
let's
This is a
crack a
podcast about beer as well, so
Yeah,
we have to do that. And while we get to crack the Eagle IPA, it is our beer tonight from Avon Brewing Company, or one of our
Love an
sponsors.
IPA.
So
Defend the Nest.
The Nest, defend the Nest. We did this can as a fundraiser for the actual school system. So
Okay.
yeah, pretty cool, right? Crack it open. This is our West Coast
I heard
IPA.
the name, I just didn't understand the reference.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty
You can
cool.
grab some first.
Cheers.
So I already poured myself some. We gotta get some from Mom over
you
here.
mentioned Jim. Jim and I, we kind of go hand in hand often. He was brewing before I met him.
Okay.
He was doing extract brewing in his kitchen.
Now, when was this? Like,
Before we met, so 2010,
okay.
2009.
Okay.
So that's one of the funny falling in love stories. So we had all this whole we had this whole group of friends that
Cheers, guys.
cheers, y'all.
Woo.
I love a West Coast IPA. Yeah, so we had this group of friends that weren't really getting into going to all our class reunions.
Okay.
And so we decided we call it Freaks and Geeks reunion. So we would get together, play crazy music, camp out. Our friend had some property out in Oak Harbor.
Sounds
So there was a
wonderful.
group of us, exactly, of like about a 6-year span. So we saw each other and I was like, and he was telling me he was getting into home brewing.
Love it. First beer.
Yeah.
Dude, this is kind of where it is.
I know.
And so he goes, yeah, I'm getting into kegging maybe, so I'll bring a keg next year. I'm like, right.
Yeah.
And this dude showed up with a keg dispensing system, and a beer he had brewed to bring to this camp out.
You're like, well, all right.
And it was a sizzle.
Oh, Dave.
Man,
So
kind of getting the feels over
the
here.
say to do ratio, right? I call it the say to do ratio. So he did it. And he,
Nice.
He said it and he did it. And so we started dating about a year after that, and 2011-ish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so then we started brewing at my house. But within a year, we went all grain.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like most people starting out, so if you're at home, most people start out home brewing on extract. Can you talk about that for a second?
Sure. It's basically malt that has been dehydrated to a point. It's mini wort. It's concentrated wort. Wort meaning W-O-R-T, which is the sugary water that creates the beer that we extract
yum.
from the malt. The yummy yum. So that we did that at first, but then realized we could make a lot more intricate beer.
For sure.
Yeah. More control.
Yeah. The first few times though, you had to realize like, oh, our thermometer doesn't work.
Every time.
So
Every time.
Jim and his brother, the first all grain batch, we were trying to make an imperial stout, go big, go home.
Got
Yeah.
to.
Well, we made a black IPA, basically.
What's wrong with that? I
Or,
love black IPAs. So we can say you started the style. 2011?
Yeah.
No.
Probably
So when we
not,
talk
but-
about starting out on your stove, right,
Yep.
with the malt extract or even the powdered wort, and you put that on your stove and you start with a big pod.
When
and
you shook it in a bucket to
oh
oxygenate.
yeah, we did that a long time.
Right, before you like I'll just get a
So you're gonna do
sintered
this at
stone
home,
and
right? You're gonna
actually
buy
have
this little
oxygen.
bucket from a homebrew store, and you should, right? Start that way.
Yep.
You're gonna make it on a stove and add your little hops and chill it.
Not if you're Jason Lowry.
we learned that
You'll
last
Oh
stay
yeah,
week.
still.
Jason went big.
Jason,
There's
if
a
you're
few people that went big or went home. Scott Masony, like,
Oh,
right?
did he
From
go?
Snobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He went full on electric, like had a huge panel built in his house within like 2 to 3 years.
I'm so jealous.
well, we
of these
learned
electric
last
systems.
week that Jason Lowry, his first ever beer he brewed was Citra Trails, which won
Right.
an award. That's crazy. He didn't do what we all did, which was
Jim-
start small.
we we started small, and I will say with the Snobs is exactly that supportive Society of Northeast Ohio Brewing.
Yep.
Snobs. We met Michael and Tolchik at the Tremont Tap House during Cleveland Beer Week. And he's like, you should join the Snobs. If you pay now, you'll be able to pay for your whole year. So we came to the Christmas party and brought our first IPA, sat at a table. We didn't know anybody. Rixie.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
He's like, this is what's going on with your beer. This is, what did you do? Did you do this? Did you do that? Yes, no. He's like, do this, do that.
Taking notes.
And so,
taking notes, taking notes.
And then
Jumpstart your
6 months
quality,
later, we bring him another beer, and he's just like, holy crap, you listened.
You did everything
I
I
think
said.
that was the thing with Snobs, is if you're willing to like be humble and listen to the feedback, just like with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling you your stuff was sharp at the beginning.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, okay.
Right.
What should I do? Yeah.
Dial back on the wheat or up the wheat. And then, but you say it, you share that information in a supportive way. And if the person's willing to listen, good, you learn and move on.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. You know, we're talking about doing it at home, and that's what we want to share with people who are home brewers. You'll do it. It's wonderful. Get yourself out there and get started. And that's why you want to join a club. We talked about Snobs and those aspects of you crossing over and how that helped you. Just talk to people about the process, how to learn it, how to do it better, and even using...
Home brewers and pro brewers are so willing to share information. This is like unlike
And
any...
beer. They'll
and
share beer
beer.
too, yeah.
But unlike any industry I have seen, the sharing and the wanting to help people get better and to put out a better product and just represent the region well, it is like nothing I've seen.
Yeah, you're right. There's like, proprietary secrets be damned. We're going to tell you how to make your beer better,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell everybody everything we ever do.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me a bit.
Yeah.
No,
Right? Great beer.
Every system is going to be different too.
100%.
I wish you luck on your system, or you can share information with
Yeah.
me. But I'm on a 3.5 direct barrel, direct fire system.
Yep.
It's going to apply very differently.
Correct, absolutely. But what the good point is that when you come to my place and someone's saying, hey, I went to Brick and Barrel and I liked their beer, right? Kept a move on the passport. And they got really excited about it. That helps everybody out. So why would I not want to help out you guys? And we do a lot. And we work back and forth on some things, and it's exciting. Absolutely. See, Kara's a wonderful person. Excellent home brewer.
Might.
Excellent brewer, right?
So when you were brewing, getting into beer, what was like your first commercial beer that was a craft beer that made you realize there was something else?
Pete's Rally Cap.
Rally Cap, yeah.
I think it was like a lemon or a Grains of Paradise.
Oh,
Beer.
I've never heard of it.
Pete's Wicked Ale.
Pete's Wicked Ale. That was one of mine
my dad
too.
was sending. So in 1991, I was at the University of Akron. A bunch of exchange students were living on that floor.
All right.
I got along with them, a little older than me. They're like, where the hell is the good beer? So my dad started sending me home with mix packs from Great Lakes.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And of course, I mean, Dortmunder, Fitzgerald. I mean, it's all the Great Lakes stuff.
It's
right?
like the old OG
The
beer
OG
exchange.
mix pack, right? Because anything you would get at the import stores, old. And because even they were telling me, like, this tastes terrible. This shouldn't taste like this.
It's been sitting on the shelf for a year.
Correct. Green bottles in the sun, etc. So but I really loved that brightness of the Rally Cap.
Okay,
and I thought Grains of Paradise was a joke.
Yeah. It sounds like a fake thing.
Right. But I then come to find out it's actually a real thing. Before you could Google things, I'm like, I talked to somebody at a brewery. They're like, yeah, that's a real thing.
Who knew?
So, I think that was probably my major intro. Some Sam Adams beers as well. We're sneaking in around then.
Nice. Was it a Saison?
No.
Not yet.
Boston Lager?
You got to remember,
Boston Lager.
I'm also 51. So I was a little, I think people a little younger, even 10 years younger had this breadth of stuff that was more available.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I'm
So in
5 years younger than you. I mean,
1988, it was Natty Light, Busch Light, and I'm just like, no,
Not having it.
No.
Yeah, if I could find a Guinness Export Stout, because I'm older than you, so 5 years. Yeah, there was nothing out there, you know.
Yeah,
Sierra
it was
Nevada,
rough.
you could get Sierra Nevada here and there, but
Which is why I went to coolers, mixed drinks,
Yeah, for sure.
etc. At the time. But then those flavors started to come up, like right 2000s, I would say. Like I got turned on to Fat Tire. When I
Fat
was
Tire,
in
Yeah.
Arizona.
Long Trail.
you
all of a
kids
sudden being
don't know
out,
how
like,
good
when-
you have it with all this good
True
beer.
Beers
statement.
everywhere. It's true. No, literally. I mean, we talk
No.
about this on every podcast, right? And every we talk to these guys, and we can say the same thing. When we started in the process, there was nothing out there,
No,
right? Nothing.
very little.
And so the breadth of styles that are out there today, pushing the limits, and you go into any convenience store now, you can pick anything you want across the board, and it's
Like a
usually
lot of
pretty
times-
quick, pretty fresh.
Back then, if you wanted to sample a certain style that wasn't available, you had to brew it yourself.
Pretty
And
much.
then, if you didn't like it, maybe it's because you didn't do a very good job, which is possible. But
Very possible. But then you took it to your homebrew group, and you asked them what the situation was.
help you
and
dial it in.
she said it was too sharp.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with you.
Just the one time.
No, which is great. That's really the whole point. Honestly, we want to make sure everybody knows that it isn't, when they call it snobs, you don't go there, and they're not beer snobs per se. You're not going to go there and feel that you're not welcome, that no one cares what you're doing,
No,
and they're going to just
people
rip
are-
you apart. That's not how it works.
No, people want to help you get better. Answer the questions you have. I think on the last podcast you said something like, "Nah, I don't know. This had this going on or whatever." So you can bring that question to people, and they're going to say, "No, actually,
There's something
calm
else
down.
going on. Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah.
like
Something
your
else
beer."
you didn't think of.
Right. And they'll ask you, what yeast did you use? What was your water profile? These things that can help you really dial in if you're going into a specific style or a specific flavor profile. Yeah.
Cool. So as someone who also was a home brewer who jumped the ship to professional side, let's talk about that. So what prompted your decision and your love for the game to go from being a home brewer to the professional side? And talk through that with us, the whole process.
So I say everything that I've done professionally has been a combination of art and science. So
And
I was
magic.
and magic.
It's magic.
It's the art. So I started in nursing. So some of that bio knowledge, that language that gets spoken in the brewing world, was very easy.
Oh, it's the
for
same
me
thing.
Yeah.
My son's taking honors biology as a freshman,
All
and
the
we sit down.
ACEs and the OSEs. And
Every single thing is like, Dad, how do you still remember this? I said, because we use this all the time.
All the time. This is what we do.
This is
right?
what I do.
So it was applicable for me. I was frustrated in the healthcare providing industries, so I was definitely looking for something else to do that could kind of marry those two.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was the explosion.
For sure.
Right, it was the time of the explosion. So I took the American Brewers Guild course.
Oh, nice.
In 2017.
Okay.
In anticipation of opening a craft.
Nice.
brewery.
Yeah, for sure. No. Which we all have those aspirations, right? If you don't
I'm not
have
sure
that
what that
entrepreneurial,
there was. I didn't have the moment, Matthias.
Didn't have a
I
moment?
didn't- No, I didn't. It was more fluid than that.
yeah,
So yeah, but then when I saw what the potentials were, and again continuing to meet people in the industry, these are people I want to work with
oh, absolutely.
versus working for independent contracting doing massage therapy or working for a hospital. So you also have to decide who you want to work around.
For sure.
So that was a big push.
Absolutely. And we met, oh my goodness,
I know.
it's been a long time now. And 7 years, maybe.
Had to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. and I've seen you kind of progress through that process and see where we've landed now at Brick and Barrel, which is wonderful. So, again, what does that transition look like, right? Because out here, people in the internet universe,
Okay.
they come up with it all the time, right? So I am a home brewer. I've gone to these competitions. I do really well.
Correct.
Or I just really have an itch to maybe get into this as a part-time gig. My cousin even called me in Cincinnati. Same thing. What's it look like? Yes.
So kind of stand on your own ground.
Yep.
Know the beers you love.
Mm-hmm.
So Joseph, who was here last week, right?
Jason,
yeah.
Oh. IPAs.
Oh, yeah.
IPA focused. Crooked Pecker. When
Hazies.
he went into it, he knew exactly what he wanted to do.
100%.
I am more into traditional styles. I don't like adulterating beers and things like that. So Brick and Barrel felt like a perfect fit for me.
I feel totally lambasted for that one.
Are you feel attacked?
I'm attacked.
Aw, don't.
I'm just playing. You know our beers. We go all over the place, so it's kind of fun.
But
That's who I am.
But you also have very classic styles.
We have very
and
classic
you
styles.
do execute classic styles.
I think we do very well, for sure. I'm just messing with you. Messing with you.
Okay. Well, and again,
Not the
I
person who
have
says that.
5 fermenters. I'm on, I have it is a very nice transition for me.
For sure.
To go to a smaller brewery.
Mm-hmm.
We are on the river. We have runners. We have rowers. We have bikers. We have people that come right down from downtown. So they're looking for the lower ABV beers. They're looking for something that's just quick, refreshing, 1 or 2 pints. I can have 2 of those, head on my way, and walk back up this hill.
Yep.
So it really has allowed me to shine on the styles that I love, which are typically more classic styles.
I appreciate that at a brewery. Sometimes you go, I can go into a place, what haven't I had before? Let me try the double IPA or the bourbon barreled aged, whatever. Have one of those. And then, there are some people I hear that can say, that's all the beer I require for the evening. Thank you, sir. May I have my check? But I don't know any of those people personally because I'm going to have 3-4 more after the first one. And I need, so then I look for the ESB, the Kolsch or something because I'm going to crush some more. And I appreciate that,
Doesn't mean I don't want to do big badass beers.
For sure,
or
for sure.
some things, but right now, this is where we are. Right.
And that's great.
And I do love that, to be honest with you. I knew that's where your heart was at. And so when we talk about that as a general rule, and this is important to me because we brew beer that we want to drink. That's our process, right?
Yes.
And that's how it plays out. And I think that we put our heart and soul into that because I think that's who we are, and we want to be that. And I think that really fits the mold with you at Brick and Barrel. And I love your space. I love the patio. I love the inside. I love the eclectic nature of the whole sit at the bar, the new bar, right? The brew house sitting amongst the tanks and the barrels and just the vibe and the feel, right? And the beer really does complement that
that's
feel.
our staff too.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It's so
a comfortable
cool.
place to work. It's a very welcoming place. We have people that have just become family. And
that's the whole point, right?
That is, I know, but in Cleveland and in downtown Cleveland, Flat T Cleveland, that can be very difficult to achieve.
I agree. As a restaurant or a bar, 100%.
Yeah. But I think we've done that very well. And Christina has taken ownership of that and cultivated this. She's been there since a year after we opened. We opened in 2014.
For sure.
I think she's been there
The whole time.
pretty much the whole time.
Which is good.
I think
No,
at the
yeah, it is, yeah.
I think at the Winter Warmer we talked about you have quite a few patrons that come in looking for specific beers, and they love it, and I think that's great because you're kind of connected to the community and your patrons, and they're like, "I'll be back when this beer is on, but give me this."
I got
right
so
now.
much S. ... for not brewing the wee heavy. First year I was there, the McTavish.
Yep.
But I got Carl in the brew house and kind of learned a couple of his secrets on using a direct fire system
Okay.
to create that beer.
Oh, wow.
So there is some serious scorching that goes on that cannot usually be attained with a steam system.
I agree.
Even with mixed jackets, right? Like with high and low mid jackets.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is hot, hot, hot
Yeah.
when those first runnings come in. And then we boil the crap out of the first 15, 20 gallons.
Look at you.
So it's got this caramelization, true Maillard reactions that we can get
Yeah.
into Maillard versus caramelization.
Yeah.
If you want to get scientific, that cannot be attained
Nice.
on
Yeah.
other systems.
And you
so
have
I
a
think that's why
Big audience for that beer.
we do.
Yeah.
For sure.
We do.
And I know when I come into it happens at our place too. I mean, my dad always says, we need to have that beer back on. People always ask for it, and they do, right? And we have 24 taps on. We're going to be doing 50 at the new establishment just because of that.
Wow.
50. Good old Pete. Good old
Pete.
Pete's going to be on it.
Pete.
We talked about it today.
Poor Peter.
Poor
Poor
Pete.
Peter Campbell.
A lot more podcasts. So, that's where we're at
Don't
with that.
kill him. He's a good guy.
I love
no.
Pete.
Okay,
Pete
okay.
makes good work. So, but when I come into your establishment, I love your saisons that are aged in your wine barrels, specifically the red wine saison. So I ask that all the time.
I know.
And why is that connection? How does that work out? Coming into the
Brick
space.
and barrel.
Correct.
Carl came from a wine background.
Exactly.
So he was able to play with that. Also have access to those barrels.
From Debonair.
Or
Wherever else he was at.
Right.
For sure.
Or friends of friends.
Or friends
Yeah,
of friends.
right.
But that's where he was at in terms
Right.
of that's a really cool thing to do. And know you brought one of those for us to try today as well.
It's not wine
I
barrel
know,
aged,
I
though.
know.
Stop it.
But it's okay. I'm happy. I'm not going to be that person. I want to be. I might just be that person.
We'll get there again.
So
We'll
then-
get there again.
We talked about the connection to your local area, which is fantastic. And you have to do that. You have to own your space, own who you are as a staff, own the
Yes.
beer that you brew, and
The
just
people
roll
that
with
are
it.
around us.
100%.
And now we're very much changing down there. I don't know if you've seen the growth, but
Oh, yeah.
there are just huge condominiums and spaces. Oh,
Yeah, it's like
Houses, it's
Growing.
going to ebb and
Yeah.
flow for sure. And you
Yeah.
guys have worked towards that 100%.
Absolutely.
So then
And so we're trying to keep that vibe. We're still trying to provide that space.
it's because it's who
in that
you are,
area.
right? And you'll have that. And you'll definitely have that.
That
You'll
is
attract
who
the
Brick and
people. They'll
Barrel
come there
is.
for that very
Yes.
good purpose, that reason.
Absolutely.
So then what is unique about your beer? And then how's that then relevant to not just the people in your area, but also to the greater Cleveland area who wants to come down to Brick and Barrel on the Passport, which is out right now.
Yeah, we got our passports. We got our
I
stickers.
know, ready to rock and roll. Like if I
We're
want
ready to
to,
rock
the
and
Bitter
roll.
Chief or all the other big ones you have out.
Okay, yes, but again, I think we kind of talked about that in that we have a very active community that comes in. Runners, rowers, walkers. They connected the trails. Merwin's Wharf is there. You can once they get Center Bridge fixed.
oh yeah.
That will connect us to the other side of the flats. So the lower ABV,
Perfect.
typically. People want to be able to hang out and have a couple.
I agree.
Anything that's on tap, usually it is something traditional European, like we have the Weißweiner, Stefaner. There we go. Wheat beer on, and if we get taps, so it's from Arsenal.
Oh.
Like we always have a cider on. They're from Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
They've
Great
got
cidery.
an amazing tap house up on 40 Lorraine and 40 something. Or we ask for local breweries to fill those taps.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, what was the first part of the question?
Well, what's unique about your beer? We just talked about that. And then
so
the relevance
I
to
think
your...
lower ABV beers and beers that matter. So beers, Buckeye Breakaway last year was for a longtime customer of ours who runs an MS every year a run.
Yep.
Now what is
Like a
charity?
Yeah.
Bike.
Was it the?
a 5K or a race?
He is. So we did Buckeye Breakaway from him to be able to have a big raffle. Mason, our Imperial Pretzel Porter, was named after Mason, Christina's dog that was our brewery dog for years. There's intention behind a lot of the beers we brew. Bridges up, bridges down.
You're right there.
We're right there,
Makes
and
total
people
sense.
get pissed off about the bridge being
I'm
up or
so
down.
thirsty. So thirsty.
We have a joke about if it's a little boat, you do a half pour. If it's then you can get your
For
higher
sure.
ABV.
And we've talked about
but-
that too. I think that's a big relevant thing in our culture today is lower ABV beers or NA beers in general. And so I applaud you for that.
Cheers.
Awesome. For sure. And you were in California, Dave said?
Yeah, I saw you're checking in some beers and visiting California. I'm like, I need to hear about that. A little
Yes. Tell us.
We went straight to Santa Rosa.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we stopped at one place along the way, but straight to Santa Rosa, got an Airbnb, bought a cooler, and went to Russian River the next day.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes, you have to.
Night, and just stocked up. And we're like, well,
You
if
have
we're
to.
going to be here for a week, we'll just drink Russian River beers.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to us, we found out a week or two before we went, it was San Francisco Beer Week.
Oh, my God.
We
How
went to
awesome
see
is that?
Unwound, the band Unwound
Oh, yeah.
from the 90s.
Oh, wow.
So this whole
90s,
trip
yeah.
was planned around this show to go see
Oh, okay.
Unwound. So
you
Saturday
feel
was
good,
that
Dave.
show.
Yeah.
All around music, baby.
And it was a beer fest week, too.
And it ended up being so in San Francisco, they released Pliny the Younger before they actually release it at Russian River. So while we're in San Francisco, they're releasing Pliny the Younger
Oh.
everywhere. I know, stop it.
I know. I saw Jim posted. He's like, yeah,
appreciate
it's just
the
weird
bottle.
to go to a random bar and Pliny the Younger is on tap, and
Super happy.
it's like I hate you right now, Jim. I hate you.
No, but it was great. And STS Pilsner is like one of my
Yeah.
faves because it's that. I know you guys talked about like cold IPA or like American hopped lagers.
my favorite.
One of my
I know.
favorite styles.
She watches the show, man.
I know. This is great.
Wow.
Follow, like, share.
Yeah, come on.
Blabbermalt Show. Bam. Love it. Love it.
But 50-mile-an-hour winds on our last
Really?
night there.
Oh, boy.
Forget it. We're still going to watch the sunset
Yeah.
over the Pacific on a beach. And I've got an STS Pilsner. And I just like, we're not even getting glasses because it's going to be filled
it.
with sand.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just going to drink out of the bottle.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we
Wow.
drank Russian River beers. They're such, again, they're such kind people. This industry is
Yeah. They bring you in, give you a tour. And,
Well, actually, one of the servers there, I found out, I just liked her. I couldn't tell why. Found out she was from Michigan, I believe. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that makes sense.
That she was a Michigan fan and we don't want to talk to him?
Oh, calm down
I'm
with the
just
sports
playing.
thing. Calm down.
I'm just playing. I had to do that for those that are
Oh,
watching
sportsy people.
out there. I don't
Sport
mean
ball.
it. I don't mean it.
I don't know.
Kind of I do.
But she went and found a receipt paper and wrote us this whole thing of a route to take and which roads to take. And Guernsville to Goat Rock.
who needs Frommers when you have this girl?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Again, people in the beer industry, servers to brewers, are incredible.
Nice.
So the other thing, Ghost Town, Alvarado Street Brewing.
I've not been there.
They're in Monterey. We went for the food.
Yeah.
They looked like they had great food. Yeah, we go find out they've won like, I don't know how many IPA competitions, World Beer Cup, everything. I was like, we ended up there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Alvarado Street Brewing, incredibly good.
You know, we hear that a lot from people out in our world that they go out to breweries because they find out that breweries have good food as well because they look at the
Indeed.
crafty concept or they're owning their own brand and they put a lot of heart and soul into that, a lot of local ties. So, yeah, definitely, you know, we hear that a lot, and I know that that's something that most people do.
Yep.
So good stuff. I think we're ready to move on, Dave. What do you think?
Yeah, I know. Hit the third thing.
It's time for
All right. Well, homebrew happenings. I got nothing. I mean, Tank Sir Beer. I just got my NHC entries in under the wire, just barely. But yeah, I got to brew something, but I don't know what.
Well, we have a surprise for you today, David.
Yeah.
Kara.
We do.
Kara brought a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
And we want to talk about this during the homebrew happenings.
Let's do it.
So I may have in my possession a bottle that has a paper bag on it. And the paper bag states
Wizard of Size.
Wizard of Size.
Dave
right?
Casino.
Dave. There's your address here and your phone number.
Don't tell.
Entry name. Show me your
face. Man.
face. Face. All right. So it's
That's old, man.
Right? It's so old. But
so old. But we're going to crack it. And we're going to have a
because
sip
it's a
of it.
Brett beer,
Yeah.
it could
Yep.
have gotten super good.
Or
It
super.
got super bad.
We'll find
We
out.
don't know.
Well, we already cracked it.
When
in the
this
bag,
was in
so.
its prime, this was the best beer I ever brewed. I mean, in my opinion, but
So after homebrew competitions, if you judge or steward, the leftover beers are often available for you to take home. And I know Dave's a really good brewer.
Don't touch those. Don't touch those yet.
I stole a bunch of his bottles of the leftovers.
don't do it yet. Let me clear it.
Uh-oh. What is that smile?
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Oh.
I'm excited.
Oh, it smells good.
It smells fantastic.
A little oxidized, but I mean, that's expected at this
sure.
point,
Wow.
right?
That's
Ready?
That's not great.
That's not great.
Yeah, that's
You're
oxidized.
ridiculous.
too.
It's
So the
oxidized, but still.
Dave.
Oh, that base beer, though, for a Brett,
That's good.
I'm saying.
Nice job, buddy.
So this is like
So this is part of judging, right?
showed you
Get
O-face.
past a certain characteristic,
Mom, you want to try
right?
some
And
of
you
this?
can feel feel everything underneath, right?
yeah.
So
a
this
wifey
is
in on
part
this.
of we want to talk about homebrewing. As a judge, you may have a very significant fault in a beer, but it can be really good otherwise. So this is how, just like the conversations we've had at Snobs. This is a problem, but you nailed this, you nailed this, you nailed this, you nailed this.
So if you fix this, you have a
Right. So I
beer.
mean, and you have to get past in judging. You have to get past certain flaws to truly assess the beer underneath and what the intention
Right.
of the brewer was.
that was one of the things. I don't know
Wow.
of all of our listeners are brewers. They might just be beer lovers. I kind of wanted to give some education on things, and we just talk
I
about
think we just jump right into that for sure.
the BJCP
Yeah.
is the Beer Judge Certification Program, international organization. There's like 60 countries involved, and they certify judges. And this is basically used for homebrew competitions, and professional competitions use different
Format for sure.
standards
Yep.
and processes. But this is the one that I was familiar with, and they set the style guidelines. So when you're judging a beer,
5 bottle caps. That's how you do it, right?
No, that's
Yeah,
Untapped,
that's
bro.
exactly it. That's how we
Yeah,
do it.
Untapped.
Great,
is-
great beer. Let me see it. Yep.
1.2.
1.5. Oh, you know you run a brewery when you know that's how people play it out.
Well-
Great beer. Best I've had, 1.5.
Right.
But
Bottle caps.
the guys
That's
that
you, Tom.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Tom. He does ABC's.
I'm going to say his last name on camera, too. Tom Vamas Percy from Avon, Ohio.
He uses Untapped like a BJCP
He does,
guideline, and
for sure.
he is very
Regimented.
like
Regimented.
average beer is a 2.3 or something. I'm like,
Correct.
do you even like beer, dude? I mean,
I'm like, did I have it? Yes. Did I enjoy it?
oh, it was great.
Great. 4.
Yeah.
Want to drink it again? Yeah. 4.5.
Yeah.
Did I love it and want another one right now? 5. Let's go. Bring them on. That's how I do it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I actually don't rate beers anymore, to be honest with you.
I've
been
never
years.
even had Untapped on my phone. I'm probably one of the very few people that do not even have Untapped. I told Jim a long time ago, I'm like, you just do it. We'll just collaborate on our number.
We got check-in people that love to check stuff in, and we love it, right? My brother-in-law, our chef, is he calls himself a check-in whore.
See,
It is what it is.
just never been my thing. So
All right, so I was kidding about how the judge. So Dave, why don't you let's not talk about Untapped today, and let's move on to the real conversation.
They set the standards, and I think there's 120 odd beers that they're categorized, and they'll give you, the flavor profile, typical ingredients, and they give the vital statistics, the starting gravity, finishing gravity, IBUs, color, typical ingredients, and just kind of lay out. And if you're a brewer and you're entering a competition, it would behoove you to read those, because that's how the judges are looking at your beer. That's how they should be looking at the beer. It's not the beer they love the most. And they have score sheets, and it's a 50-point scale, and they attribute so many points to aroma, so many to the general appearance, mouthfeel, overall impression, and you score it. And then there's a spot for the flaws you were talking about, and you can highlight the ones. And the judges should give you some verbal critique, and so you can improve your beer.
Yeah.
And that's a big plus when you're entering beers and competitions, to get feedback on how you can improve. They certify judges too, and that's quite a process. You can take I think just to be able to sit for the sit-down practical exam, you have to take an online course, and it's timed. And then as you get experience and you judge competitions, you get points and you rank up. It's like a video game,
Yep.
You start out, provisional, or, and then you get ranked, national, and
certified is where most people are.
certified, and, grandmaster, and then king shit of F Mountain.
National is a really, that's an intense exam.
Yeah.
That's seriously intense. And they only have so many sessions available nationally. Many people travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to take these tests, yeah.
So it's
when looking at this process, right? This beer we just had of yours, this Show Me Your O Face. It's in a category, right? And the category you submitted in was 28A, which is a Brett beer, right?
Yes.
And so, what does that mean for our viewers?
Well, that one was fermented. Brettanomyces is the bacteria that makes it have that funky, leathery, barnyardy kind of flavor.
Horse blanket.
Which is awesome. Horse blanket. I've never licked a horse blanket, but if it
It's on
tastes
the
like
list.
that,
It's on the list. It's
You
on
just hug a
the
horse.
list. Hug a horse.
yeah, hug a horse.
So this is your Hug a Horse beer.
Shit. Don't
Hug a
take
horse.
that name from me. Oh,
That's a great name.
Hug a
stop
horse.
it. I just said don't take that name from me.
You can have it. You can have it.
Hug a horse.
But the base beer is also really important. And you listed it as a 26B, which is a Belgian, right?
Yeah, what I would do, and what I like to do, is I do 10-gallon batches, and then I'll split them and do one clean with a yeast, and then the other one, when it's fermented with the original yeast, then put some bread on and let it sit for a while. And that's a good way to get different beers, just split it, ferment it with different stuff.
As a home brewer, that's exactly what we used to do.
Yeah.
So we went with a bigger kettle eventually, and then would make 3 4-gallon batches.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
hop them differently, use a different yeast.
Yeah, that way you don't have
it's-
to wait for one, and you're kind of doing them.
And you just get to play.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. Yeah.
It is fun.
Which is the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Try things out, experiment.
Yes.
Put lots
and
of
dial
fruit.
it in. And okay, we should have added another half an ounce, Homebrew
I back
scale.
the time right on the ounce, and now we're putting
I'm
in
like, wait,
cracking
wait,
44
3
pound
pounds, right.
bags of hops.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. No, it's exciting. So, we send our stuff off now as professional brewers, and you talked about getting yourself ready for World Beer Cup. Did you guys send anything in for that?
We did not.
We did not this time either.
year.
No, it's just one of those things with us transitioning. It just didn't happen. But I like to do those things. It's fun to get a medal. We've done got a lot of those back. It's nice. You said the GABF with Fatheads. It's really cool, right?
And I also think, though, that you have to remember when you're going from a home brewing, your BJCP, now you're dealing with GABF,
Yep.
World Beer Cup. They're all very different guidelines. The one,
There
was
are.
it 2 years ago that they didn't even award a single medal?
Not a
or
medal.
they only did a bronze
Yep.
in the one category?
That's it.
What?
And
For sure.
literally, the announcer, though, was like, everybody read your guidelines.
Oh, wow.
So it was just people not
Following the rules.
understanding the boundaries that they're in. So, like you said,
It does change.
You need, if you want to win in competition, and that is how Jim and I did so well, is fit those guidelines to
Yeah.
a T. You can have a bit, which is the freedom I don't have. I do have, excuse me, I'm not restrained at Brick and Barrel, is that we're not entering competition.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
can make something called a Imperial Pretzel Porter, and it's delicious, and people love it. It's never going to really fit a category or
And it
do
doesn't have
well
to.
within a category.
Correct.
True.
But it's a ridiculously good beer. And
Yeah.
people. So there's
That's
that
what customers
balance as
care
well.
about. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And but if you are going to enter competition, and like that's part of the reason we didn't, is yes, I had a couple of beers that fit really well the style, but
I mean, you think about even GABF, right? And some of the medal winners, apart from Fatheads, I mean, they kind of run the line pretty good on a lot of their beers, right? Matt's fantastic.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Yep.
Drain a glass. Let's get on to this.
Oh, yeah.
hit it.
So, here, go ahead. I'll pass it over to you while I chit-chat about professional brewer stuff. It's a heavy bottle.
I'll take care of this. Don't worry. I'm a professional.
He's a professional.
I'm a
professional bottle
drinker.
cracker.
yeah.
Masthead, right? I would say Masthead's known for their hazy beer and other styles too, but they've won for their lager, right?
They're Augenblick.
Yeah,
They're red IPA.
yeah, because they're brewed to style.
They're brewed
to style.
Absolutely. Now, did they do that intentionally, or did they brew something they loved and then were like, "Holy shit, this fits the style"?
Yeah, either way, it doesn't matter, right?
I agree.
I think
with
the
you,
lager may have been,
but
still.
I often think that there's some brewers that definitely are brewing for a specific beer to be to style.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think there's some brewers out there that are like, "Oh my god,
No, right?
like this fits right in. We're sending it."
Well,
And
then.
maybe they didn't even have the intention,
Yep.
but something turns out that is so within its style.
Yep.
I think this is right within its style.
And let's talk about this really
Yeah.
quickly.
All right, so this is the ESB. Steve,
Steve.
And ESB stands for?
extra special bitter, which is actually not how BJCP describes the beer. So it's
It's not?
frustrating.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Wait, I got it written down because I was so annoyed. Sorry. Strong bitter.
Strong bitter. Yep.
But extra special bitter, we actually put in our menu description. Hold on.
It's good.
To not be dissuaded by the word bitter.
Correct.
Because the English style, this was super bitter to them.
Yeah, it's
But it
Not
was
really a bitter
it's
style.
not
Not
bitter.
good at all.
no.
Again, this goes to our classic style. London ale yeast, a little bit of fruitiness. I tried a spund at the end
Ooh,
to
look at
kind
you.
of capture
Yep.
some of those aromatics and not let them blast off.
Do you
Yeah.
treat the water?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's very few beers we don't treat
Mm-hmm.
the water being basically filtered, but minimal treatment with Cleveland having such
Great
great
water.
water.
Very lucky.
For sure.
Specifically what I like to brew.
Yep. It does make sense for them.
So yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the things we want to talk about again are some happenings in the what's going on in the world of beer, right? And talk about a brewery coming up that doesn't really fit that mold, and just like us, is Saucy. Dave sent me a message and said, "Look at this," because he's an island guy, and he said, "What is going on, Dave? What did you see?"
It looks like Putin Bay is going to get a Saucy location.
A little saucy. Look, gonna get a little saucy
with a hotel.
Yeah, we don't know a whole lot about that yet.
Well, it's the whole complex, right?
Yeah.
But are they going to have the whole complex of saucy, or are they just going to be in the facility? We don't know yet, right?
We don't know, but I would assume.
Here's the thing.
I mean,
that's a good assumption.
That would make sense. Go ahead.
I saw this from Northeast Ohio Craft Brewer
news
site, and we can't get mainstream media to ask any of our politicians any straight questions.
Any questions?
But Northeast Ohio Craft Brewing is doing this incredible Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalistic, and they're on
Rob tore it up.
They're looking at what properties are for sale, and then
it's
the
sold,
A1C filing for Saucy, and then puts this story together. They didn't release the press release. I'm like, that's great.
Rob did. He's fantastic. So listen, Northeast Ohio Craft Brewing News. We talk about them a lot. Yeah. We just did an article with them this past Thursday night in Medina, at Medina Brewing Company. They did a little live video. We put it on our site. Kind of had some trouble with the audio. I think we're better here today. But that's just good. So audio kind of follow me around. But they do a lot of good work with the flight crew. And Rob did that fantastic article. And it's really, him and his crew are doing a big job of pushing local craft beer. Right now there's a poll up on their site, on the Craft Brewers group, for best patio. And you're up there pretty high. We're up there pretty high. You're up there. I see you on the list.
We got a cool little patio.
Cool little patio.
And we're dog friendly.
Dog friendly,
That's
right?
important.
Well,
speaking of dog,
well-behaved dog friendly.
Well, all well-behaved fur babies are welcome in ours as well. Speaking of paws and puppies, right? The Red Wagon Brewing and Four Paws Brewing are coming to Lorain County, another brewery in Lorain County.
Oh, wait.
In Columbia Station.
Paws?
Four Paws.
They're Lorain County?
Going to be in Lorain County in Columbia Station.
Columbia Station, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's going to be two breweries at one location.
Yep.
I think Red Wagon
Brewing
started out as a roadside stand, fruits and vegetables, and then they have a bakery now, and they have ice cream. So they kind of want to keep their brand, but they partnered with these folks for Four Paws, and they want to keep their brand because they're involved in the rescue arena, I guess.
Yes,
so
for sure.
So yeah, and they each have their different beer styles. I think it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah. There's other people who are looking at doing a farm version of that.
Pretty spectacular.
Super spectacular.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to love it. I know they're good people.
They're part of the PBS and Big Boot Society, and just
good for them, right?
Just generally good humans, which again, you tend to find in the brewing industry. Yeah.
Which adds potentially another brewery to Lorain County, and just like we did in Medina, we should probably begin to looking at starting a Lorain County only passport.
What?
It's a possibility. We've talked about it a lot. We'll see what happens, right? Speaking of passports, the Medina County. Speaking of passports, the Medina County Brewery Passport starts this weekend, April 1st. So get out to Medina, check out those 7 breweries that are part of the passport. If you finish the whole passport, you get a chance to you're invited to our VIP event in Medina this summer. Full spread, beer fest for free, food the whole 9. So it's a great event for that. Medina also has their Medina Beer Fest coming up on Saturday, April 22nd. Right now, there's 25 breweries, lots of beer, food trucks. Get online and check us out. We'll try to put some information here in the bottom line for you guys.
That's a special little city.
But I love Medina.
There's a couple levels.
It's pretty. What?
That's why I have Medina Brewing Company.
I understand.
I love it.
But
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like cool little. Yeah.
They have a couple levels of entry too. They got like general admission, second tier, and then there's like a VIP.
Yep.
And you get a complimentary donut. Everybody, come on.
Who doesn't want a donut?
Get to the Medina Beer Fest, man.
Donut and beer. It's fantastic. So while we're at laughing, make sure you go last 5 minutes onto our website, right, or to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. hit those buttons. Like, share,
like, subscribe,
follow,
do all the stuff.
subscribe, do
Hit the
all of
buttons.
those things.
We didn't get to talk about music.
We're getting there, right? We're almost done.
so, yeah.
We got 5 minutes left.
talk about?
We got some beer releases. I'm going to talk about some of those beer releases quickly.
Yeah, run through those.
Lockport has a new beer out. The Heart Pomegranate Sour, Lagerheads, and Medina Sunshine Blues back out, which is a great beer. Acronym has Gold on the Ceiling, Belgian Strong. Bookhouse has Missing Gwen, which I love. Their
Love that
West
name.
Coast IPA.
Missing Gwen.
Missing Gwen.
Gwenny.
Terrestrial, I love those dudes. Helio Krischer IPA.
Oh, and their black IPA right now is killing it.
yeah.
Super good.
This is what I want to talk. It's good, but this new IPA is brewed with the Sauvignon grape skins and fermented, right?
Yeah.
This
With that Helio yeast.
yes, yeast. So it's exciting, right? Talk about thylosing yeast strains.
I
Whoop,
know.
whoop, right?
Whooped, totally. Poof.
I know, great. We talked to JFB and Brew Kettle collab there. The Future Problems. It's a Belgian quad, Green Grunge IPA. Smells like green spirit with fat
Yeah,
heads.
and I saw that. I think it's the only beer that I know of that has its own theme song. They have music.
Smells like green
up there.
spirit. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Little Nirvana-esque.
Little Nirvana, right? Avon bring us some beers coming out. We have a really cool hazy beer coming out, and some seltzers. I know seltzers are there, but heavy fruited seltzers, and right up your alley.
You gotta do what
We gotta
you
you gotta do,
in
right?
this.
So we're rolling with a couple of those things, and last but not least, Dave wanted to mention that we have this really special distilled beverage coming to Ohio from Chicago.
A friend of mine
are
talked
you
about.
talking about my art?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord, child. Okay, go ahead.
Everybody loves it, right? Isn't that what everybody says?
Does everybody?
I've never
Everybody
had it,
loves
but
it.
everybody says it's terrible, and it's
Okay.
like celebrated because it's terrible. I got to read this from Scene Magazine writer. He said, the shot is often given descriptions like rootsy or earthy and other naturalistic terms. As an avid gardener, I'd go ahead and offer this scenario.
No.
If you were able to stick a straw into the distilled liquefied center of a backyard compost pit,
Yep.
the microbial delights that you'd find on your first sip would be akin to Maillard.
Yep.
I got to try this.
It's like
we
it's like
love biological things, so I guess we're just gonna have to go
Yeah.
there.
hugging a horse,
But it's coming to Ohio, is the point.
sipping
Okay.
a garden.
So speaking of music, Muddy Roots Festival down
Yes.
in Tennessee. Do you know it?
I've heard of it. Yeah. What?
Okay.
Am I-
I'm
'cause
just
I
a
have-
little weirded out by that. No,
He does have. Are we going to
Okay.
talk about the fingernails? Are we going to talk about it?
Are we gonna talk about my fingernails? His fingernails have been like that for a while.
I
What
know,
is it a
David.
big deal about?
We haven't talked about
Is there,
it yet.
is there a problem?
No.
Okay.
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 Let it go.
This is a show about rock. You're wearing a rock shirt, bro.
Mind me. I know.
And you're supposed to
Muddy
do-
Roots, right?
Yes.
It is a completely independently run festival. There are no police. It is free camping. It is just basically don't be a dick is the theme of the festival.
She's on
Shows
Dave's
I go
level,
to,
too.
there's a lot of dicks.
Take care of yourself. You can have a dick. You just can't be a dick.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. 100%.
Okay,
Makes
cool.
sense, yeah.
Our swear jar is
that
coming
is
raw at the
also
level.
how I got turned on to all kinds of freaking cool music.
Yeah.
You go to these festivals, and a lot of times, I don't know, like I quit going to music festivals because it got
Dicey. Yeah.
They can, for sure.
like right, I don't know, and too corporate, completely different. And there's these no-name bands, and got turned on to a bunch of them, and that's like some of our
That's
stuff
a-
coming up, man. But that's
Yeah.
how you get turned on to it, or you see a band, you're like, you just start walking around like, meow.
Yeah.
I'm going
Oh,
over to that
I'm
tent,
into that,
or I'm
yeah.
into that tent, or I'm going over there.
They have multiple stages and
They do. They
Yeah.
have two a wood stage, major stage, and then usually two tents.
oh, wow. a lot of bands. Multiple day.
4 day.
What's it
3
called?
day-
Muddy
Muddy Roots.
Muddy
Don't
Roots.
Tell I shouldn't be saying
You should.
it.
Everybody's going to go now.
Keep it on the DL.
No, it's fine. Speaking of music, Dave went to a concert this past week.
Yeah, I went to see Sick of It All and Life of Agony. Great show. Great
Said
show.
it was too loud and crazy to do a live video.
Yeah, we were gonna do a live video, but it was too loud and crowded, and but crowd surfing. They're both like metal, punk metal, New York hardcore bands. Great, very nostalgic for me. Early '90s,
What
mid
venue?
'90s. This is the Foundry in Lakewood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like
It's
small
awesome.
venues,
It
too.
was awesome
For sure,
show,
I do
yeah.
love small venues.
Yeah, we're very
Intimate.
lucky in Cleveland.
A lot of places.
I mean,
A lot of
Grog,
places.
Beachland, No Class,
Beachland. is great. Yeah.
Happy Dog. I mean, there's some really cool venues around here. Yeah.
And so we definitely want to talk more about that in the upcoming shows, give Dave some space to talk about some of his music. We are here in Bay Village, and this event room we're in, right, is attached to a
Smoking rock and roll.
smoke and rock and roll
Yeah.
and a studio,
Yeah, this is audio-based studio.
audio-based studio for Billy Morris and the Sunset Strip. And then we on April the 1st, going to be playing at the Nautical Lanes in Avon Lake.
Oh, yeah. Nautical Lanes is awesome.
You got to talk about that.
You got to, look,
We love Billy.
Billy is great. It's a family-friendly band.
Great.
And Nautical Lanes is family-friendly.
Yep.
Bring the kids. You can bowl, have a couple drinks. You can get some bar food.
And share the
It's
love
awesome,
of the
yeah.
80s rock. We do that
Yeah.
together. So Billy's awesome. Go see him. Billy Morris,
Spivaks.
Sunset Strip,
Yeah.
Spivaks, Nautical Lanes,
But-
Avon Lake.
We're going to be at the Hairball show. We won't be at Billy Morris. We're going to be at the Hairball. Yes.
I know, right?
Sorry. pulling
So
a
we've
little
been
old
asking you
Motley
guys to
Crue
email
out.
us questions along the way. Dave, they can reach us at Blabbermalt,
Blabbermalt@gmail.com.
gmail.com. And wanted us to email some questions this week or some statements. What is your favorite fruit, vegetable, or spice added to a beer? So you can email us that this week. We'll talk about it. What is your favorite fruit, vegetable, spice added to a beer?
I should have brought our curry beer.
In a curry beer?
Yes.
I love curry.
Okay, well then you should come to my place and drink a curry beer.
I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah. So just
Take me.
fresh, everything fresh, all the peppers, everything. We de-seed,
Wow.
devein, mortar and pestle, like all the herbs
Look
and
at you.
everything. And
I'm coming.
so I fucking hate. I hate. Oh shit! I did it. I did it.
It's all right, we're
again.
towards the end.
We're towards the end. We're past time, so that doesn't count.
Okay, good. I
Wow.
hate pumpkin spice beers. Just put it out there. So, how do you make a pumpkin beer that doesn't have pumpkin spice?
Curry.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So,
Mine would be coconut.
ooh.
I like coconut.
You do like
Oh,
coconut.
but you
do
could
like
put
coconut.
that in the curry too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Coconut curry.
Oh, that would smooth it out. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Stole an
Uh-oh.
idea. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's it.
Coconut curry.
We love to put a lot of adjuncts in our beer. I think my favorite so far kind of fits our family mold, which is the green chilies. We have them flown in from New Mexico, and we roast them, and we puree them, and we add them to several beers. We have our green chili, our Verde Gold, which is our green chili golden ale, which is on all the time. We have right now we have a Peach Verde, which is a peach infused green chili ale. We have it in a lot of our foods as well. So green chilies, love them. Love spicy beer.
So does Ken.
So does Ken. That's what I'm talking about. It.
I
That's
think
my father-in-law.
grilling pineapple too. Like this is one
Ooh,
of the things
pineapple.
from watching so many pro brewers talk about pineapple is you don't use raw pineapple.
No.
You have to bake it
Yep.
or grill it or something.
You can either roast it. No, you definitely. We also
I
cook
mean-
all of our purees for sure. I do. If we make them in house for sure, 100%.
Well, yeah, you got a big kitchen.
Well, we're gonna have a huge kitchen here soon, which is awesome. So as we head into the last section, right? It's time to grain out. Grain out. I'm gonna let Dave talk about what's going on in our next show, right? I'm gonna be on spring break, so I won't be here, but he'll be in the studio with
I can't say. Haven't talked to him yet.
surprise.
Yeah, it's going to be a surprise.
That's exciting. But we will be around next Tuesday for a quickie to talk about what's
Maybe
going on.
I can, I'll nail him down.
Nail them down by that time.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. What beer are they going to drink the next episode? We will let you know at that time
Yeah,
as well.
yes.
So how about that, Dave?
Yeah, sounds
All right.
good.
So
Yeah.
email us questions we want to cover, just like the favorite fruit, vegetable, spice to add to a beer. We'll make sure it gets on one of our shows. So email us at
Blabbermalt@gmail.com.
blabbermalt@gmail.com.
Yeah. And check us out at Facebook and YouTube at The Blabbermalt Show, Instagram and Twitter, Blabbermalt, at
All right.
Blabbermalt.
All right, last time around, Facebook and YouTube, The Blabbermalt Show, and Instagram and Twitter at Blabbermalt. Till then, guys,
Stay
classy.
malty, Cleveland. Did you say classy?
I did. One more time. Ready? Stay malty, Cleveland. The clapping got me all crazy.